Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. I am sharing a page that I've created. No, it's not a page, I lie. It's a journal cover that I've created for Scrap FX using lots of their new products. So I'm going to create like a rainbow idea on the front of my journal cover. Doing the journal covers is one of my favourite parts. Bizarrely, I don't really understand why, of doing my journals. I love that feeling when I get to the end of my journal that I can then do my cover. It's something that makes me really, really excited. I have no idea why at all. So maybe it's because that means I can start another one. I don't know. So I'm starting off painting a rainbow shape across the spine, using the usual colours from Dina Wakley. I've got ruby, tangerine, lemon lime, sky, orchid and blackberry. And you can see I'm just sketching it out. Painting it out. I haven't drawn it out beforehand. I'm not particularly worried about keeping it particularly neat. I just want to get that idea of a rainbow onto my journal, and just lovely. I love using these bright colours, particularly I have lots of pages in my journal where I've used these lovely colours. They just make me really happy. So to have that on my journal cover as well is a really nice way to start the book really. So now I'm going in where that looks like sky, and again just following that arc of colour and painting it straight onto the journal. So it's a little bit grubby, it's got marks on it and stuff like that, but I'm not bothered about that. I haven't put any gesso on there. I am just going straight in with the paint. This is orchid. I think this is my new favourite sort of pinky purple colour. It works so nicely with the blues, particularly turquoise. So yeah, this is a nice one to pop in a rainbow. And then finally, I'm using blackberry. This is quite a nice contrast because it is quite dark. It's a lot darker than the other colours really, so it works really nicely. And I absolutely love purple, so got to have it there really. This has got to be done. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm using carnation, and I'm using the Circles Galore B stencil set here. The reason I'm using carnation is because it's a softer, light colour than white. Does that make sense? It's not quite as stark a contrast as the white, so it brings a little bit of gentle, lighter relief from the bright colours, pushes them away a little bit without being quite as stark as the white would be. So this is often how I start if I want to stencil over the top of bright or dark layers, is to go in with like a pastel shade, because it's a really nice way to kind of introduce that lighter idea to your page without it being too stark. So yeah, I'm just using this first Circles Galore B stencil, and then I'm going to grab the other one and add a bit of stenciling with that one as well. And I'm using a blending tool to pop the paint through the stencil. And here I'm just going to use the other Circles Galore bee stencil. I think I've used a bit of orchid and just mixed it in with the carnation. And I'm overlapping that stenciling with the first part where I've added the stencils the first time with the carnation. I'm just overlapping this second lot of stenciling over the top just to kind of help pull it all together. This is the graffiti stencil. This is another of my favourites. And here I am using mineral, and I am adding a little bit of that text stenciling onto my page as well. For me, quite often, it's not completed. My page isn't completed. My journal cover, whatever I'm doing, is not complete unless there is some text on there. I think it just brings another dimension to the work, and just having that kind of font of whatever variety really just finishes it off. So using this sort of nice pastel grey works really well, because at the minute the stenciling that I've added over the top is all quite subtle and quite pale. Okay, so now I'm going in with a slightly bolder stenciling. This is the new crosshatch stencil from Scrap Effects, and here I am using black, but I am mixing it with a little bit of that mineral as well, just to tone it down a little bit. So I've still got some of the white background showing through, and here I am just starting to add a little bit of contrast by adding some black onto my page as well. Thinking carefully about where I place it, because I don't want it to be too bold, but I do want there to be a little bit of this black element with this crosshatch stencil there too. This is one of the new stencils from Scrap Effects. It's lots of fun. I love the pattern, and using a blending tool with it works really well. So now I'm using the new Plus Collage stamp. There's 2 stamps in this little set, and here I am using some white. I'm applying the paint to the stamp using a blending tool, and then I'm just going to stamp it straight on. It's a really great little stamp, this, because you can obviously, depends which way you put it, whether you've got the plus sign or the cross, so you can kind of twist it up a bit depending on which way you want to use it. And I love the way it's giving that kind of gentle extra to the pattern that's building up on my background. So you can see how easy it is to create quite a detailed background just using stencils, overlapping that stenciling and being careful with your choice of colours. You can create a really interesting look to your page without using any collage paper at all. And this is one of my favourite ways to build a background, just using stencils and stamps. So this is the new Vintage Hands collage paper, and I am just adding a bit of white paint to the back of the hands that I'm going to choose to cut out, and all this does is it just sharpens up that image. It means that when I stick it onto my page, obviously the collage paper would normally sort of melt away a little bit into the background and you'd be left with your image. However, I want it to be quite bold, so adding that paint onto the background just helps to sharpen it up a little bit. And then, because I felt that the background, although it was amazing and I loved it, it was a little bit too busy. So here I'm just adding a little bit of white just to push the background away a little bit, just where I'm going to be sticking the hand. And applying that with the blending tool means I can get that on in a really nice, gentle, light layer. So obviously here I've cut out the 3 hands that I want to use. I've done the same thing, adding the white underneath them. And then I've got these stamped letters from Darkroom Door, and I've just put the word open on an acrylic block. I'm going to stamp that with some black archival ink and add it onto my page. And that is about it for this page really, once I've done that. So I'm just testing it here on my underpaper just to make sure that it's going to stamp in the right way and look okay. And then applying a bit more ink, and then I'm just going to stamp it in a few places onto my front cover. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this journal cover using lots of Scrap FX's new fantastic goodies, particularly the Vintage Hands collage paper, the Plus collage stamps, and the crosshatch stencil, and obviously wheeling out my favourite graffiti stencil as well, and the Circles Galore Bee. I love anything circly, as you know. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you found some inspiration. Maybe you'll go and create a nice bright rainbow journal cover for one of your completed journals. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.